Hi, this is Shiva Rajaya from vitalcoaching.com, and we are talking about vital sex. The topic for this video is sexual discipline. We are going to cover ideas about structure, techniques, timing, understanding, awareness, sexual training in this video, so that you understand a little bit more deeply what this idea of vital sex is about. So the first thing to understand is that there isn't one right or wrong way to do it. Okay, what I'm giving you here are simply ideas, suggestions about mindsets, techniques and practice that you can include into your sex life if you feel aligned with it. If you don't know if these techniques work, what I suggest is that you try for a week, or you try for a month. You test it with your partner, or you test it by yourself, and you see what the impact is on your level of energy and on your sex life. Okay, the best way to figure it out, give it a go, and you tell me how it went. Okay, so the idea of sexual discipline is radically different than what most people have in mind when they think about sex. Sex very often is just a passionate desire that arises, and then you put it within the context of dating, where you're having a conversation, then suddenly you start kissing, there is foreplay, and you engage into sex, and then eventually, if you are not really trained to hold back your semen as a guy, then you are going to ejaculate, lose semen, and then that's it. That's probably the end of the night. And so there isn't usually too much thought going into it, because sex is first coming from an instinct. You know, it's a pure animal instinct that is inside of us, and we have been programmed by nature to procreate and to, you know, basically to go into sex without necessarily thinking about it. Most animals, you know, the animal kingdom out there, they don't think about it. They don't abstract themselves. They don't go like, hang on a sec, if I do like that, or if I hold back my semen, or if I touch my partner in that certain way, she's going to orgasm. No, there is no abstraction. So our abilities to actually train our mind and think about it and have concepts about it is something that is our own human potential, and it's something that we bring into something that is originally purely instinctual. The same with eating food, or the same with lots of things that we do in life. So back to the topic, vital sex and sexual discipline. So when we bring the idea of discipline within the context of sex, you know, some of you might be a little bit shocked, because you think, all I want is just to go with the romantic flow. I don't want to really think about it. But here is the thing. It is that when you have a deeper understanding about the dynamics of sexual energy and the kind of actions that you can take to create more connection, to enhance the communication, to increase the pleasure that you might have, you know, develop this deeper sensation that you can inside, that you can have in you or in your partner, and eventually you realize that there is a wide field. Like for most people, what you have been exploring sexually might be this little sphere of potential, and there is much more behind that, because to actually tap into these sensations and to tap into this field of possibilities, sometimes a little guidance and a few hints might help. Okay, it's like, for instance, if you have been massaging or giving genital touch to your partner for many years, and then suddenly some therapist comes and shows you tricks to actually develop higher sensations and more pleasure, you will be like, wow, you know, I didn't realize that all these subtle techniques were there on how to actually touch a vagina or a penis. So there is a lot to say on this topic. Right now I'm giving you some ideas on why the idea of structure, the idea of discipline, or the idea of intention and understanding can be very present. So if some of you practice yoga or any form of other sport, you will notice that what makes you good at it is really the fact that there is repetition, the fact that there is training, the fact that there is timing. For instance, when you go to train, you know that you are going to be at the gym for maybe an hour or 2 hours. You decide beforehand, and then you go through a series of exercises and practices that are going to make you better, build you more muscle, make you more flexible. If you go to a yoga class, it's the same thing. There is a structure. So you can approach tantric sex or vital sex with the exact same idea. I repeat that. You can have timing, you can have structure, and you can add the dimension of training to your sex life. So what happens when you add this dimension is that instead of sex just being this spontaneous overflow of desire and energy where you get together, you start engaging into a passionate embrace or soft embrace, and then you have sex and that's it. No, it's like you structure it. So you add aspects that are going to put it within a context where you build up skills. Okay, this is a skill build up idea, training skills that you can add or bring into your sex life. So let's cover quickly a few ideas about this idea of discipline and what you need. The first concept that you can bring into there is structure. The fact that you have mindsets, the fact that you are having sex at a given time in the evening because you know that this is the peak, the energetic peak, when you are going to feel the most activated and the most receptive. All that is structure. You know, the fact that, for instance, you might engage with your partner in a very specific set of practices, and that you will decide, for instance, to sit in yabum together for an extended period of time or breathe in a certain way. All that is structure. It means that you decide with your mind and with your instinct to engage into a certain practice that you are going to sustain for a certain period of time. So this is a structure that you are developing and sustaining. The other aspect is that you have specific techniques. It means that instead of just going with a spontaneous flow of just joining lips and starting to kiss in ways that are not necessarily the most enhancing and the most pleasurable ways, you're going to think about it. You know, you're going to consciously practice soft kissing, and then you practice soft tongue touch, then you practice a little bit more passionate kissing, and you practice kissing other parts of the body. You know, it's all done in a very conscious way. And some of it is very instinctual and very passionate as a base. It means that the sexual desire is still there, but you can still direct it a little bit with that kind of understanding and flow. Another aspect to the discipline is timing. For instance, if you are giving your partner a genital massage, and your partner has no idea how long it's going to last, they might be worried about timing. They might be like, you know what, I have to go at 6 o'clock, I have a friend arriving, my kids are coming back to school, I don't know if I have the time to engage into a longer practice. So if you set up a certain time, a given time, and you say, you know what, we are going to engage into this practice for 15 minutes, I set up the timer, and after 15 minutes, or I check my watch, and you can totally relax, give me space to simply pleasure you. And so you engage into that practice, and you know that after 15 minutes, you are going to shift energy and engage into something else. So that gives a certain sense of security and relaxation. I know that it can look and feel a little bit formal, but the impact is really, really powerful. And you have different schools, different systems around where the idea of timing, precise timing, in how much time you're going to spend in a given practice is one of the core elements that gives you security and allows you to relax without having to interfere. You can, you know, if you are the one who is receiving a massage or any form of sexual activation practice, you can really relax. You can let it go. You don't have to worry about the practice extending beyond what you expect. Another aspect is the understanding, you know, having knowledge about sexual energy. So there is lots of theory about it, and you can go online, go to Wikipedia, check, you know, understand more about anatomy, understand more about the dynamics of movement of your Kundalini, how energy moves inside of you, what happens, how does that activate your chakras, and so on. You're watching some videos right now where I'm giving you information and inspiration, and the fact that you have a deeper understanding after watching this video adds skills. You know, it adds a dimension to your sexual exchange that was not there before. Very, very powerful. Another one is, another aspect of this discipline is awareness, to be really present. Rather than engaging just with the flow and going on with your own sexual urge to satisfy your needs, it's like you are really entering into something, a space and a sponsored sexual exchange where your presence is much stronger. You check in, you are aware of what you're doing, you're aware of how you're touching your partner's body, and that gives the experience much a bigger expansion, bigger space. Another aspect of sexual discipline is training, is the fact that you decide that you are going to train your sexual skills, your sexual muscles at given times during the week. So if you have a partner and you decide beforehand, okay, Thursday we have a vital sex or a tantric sex date. We are going to start at 7 and finish at 9. Because at 9 I have to go back home, or I have to go back to my kids, or there is something else coming up, or I have to go to sleep because the morning after I have to get up. So if you set up these dates in very specific time with a sense of security, creating really a protected space where you are not being disturbed by computers or cell phones ringing, you know that you are there with just the two of you in a space that is protected, and you know when it happens, and it's something that you plan ahead. It's not just the spontaneous overflow of sexual desire. It's like you plan it, you organize it, you time it in your schedule, and you make sure that you make it your top priority. So this idea of training, timing, repeating the practices, because you know I might give you a practice here and you say, oh great, we tried it once, it was great, let's go on to the next practice. No, this is not the idea at all. The idea is that you repeat the practice. For instance, if you are breathing with your partner, right, you enter into a breathing, synchronized breathing technique, and you breathe like that together. You know, the first time you reach a certain level of satisfaction in practice, a certain level of pleasure, but you will notice that if you repeat the same practice every day for like 5 minutes with the same partner, eventually you build up a sphere of energy and power that enhances, again, develops your sexual pleasure and your sexual connection with that person. Okay, I hope you get the idea. Right now I'm just covering, you know, touching on the surface. There is much more to say about this idea of sexual discipline and sexual structure. I want you to think about it, you know, put it in your mind and bring up the idea that eventually having some structure to your sexual practices will really add a dimension and add more power and add more depth to whatever you are doing there. Take care. Bye-bye.